Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Wellness Hub for You podcast.
Yeah.
This is a podcast where I converse with guests about self-care strategies that keep them going. And we feature conversations with guests from various industries, sharing wellness strategies, best practices, tools, and techniques. Save the link and tune in to explore ways to elevate your well-being. And I am so happy to be here today with Margaret Howard, Gigi.
hmm
And she
Hi.
is a library branch manager. She's a mother. She also has another podcast, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. And how are you today?
I'm so good. It's Monday. It's Monday, so we kind of got into like, oh, everything, and then now it's back to, I guess, the grind for lack of a better word. But I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm so glad to have an opportunity to talk to you.
Yeah.
We met many years ago, and we
I
haven't really
know.
seen each other in person in a long time.
Yeah.
But online world is magical, and
hmm
our librarian work is also very magical. So we stay connected somehow.
Yes.
Um, all right, I have some questions for you related to wellness because I'm very
hmm
interested in, helping others also to see how we're going to make it in this world, right? In our amazing, a bit chaotic, anxious, but really wonderful world. And
hmm
okay, as a branch library director
hmm
and a young mother and a bit of a fitness enthusiast, I think, how do
hmm
you balance your many roles?
Um, I think the thing to know when you've got a lot on your plate is that nobody knows what they're doing. And it, I think once you can kind of accept that the, that the main way that anything works is just a little bit of chaos. I wake up in the morning and I live an entire life before I get to work. I mean, some days we're talking about wellness, some days I'm at the gym at 5:30. Then I've got to get my daughter. Yeah, I've got to get my daughter, ready for school and get her out the door. And then I get here and that's when my real day starts. And I've got a staff of about 17 people here. We're a pretty busy branch. And my job is to be there for them and to make their job as easy as possible and to serve our wonderful community here. So I just kind of accept that it might not always be perfect, and that's really hard for me. I don't know. I You probably are a perfectionist as well, and it's that is something I struggle with for sure. Is what what do you do when things don't look how you imagine them? And especially when I was younger, I would like beat myself up if everything didn't hit how I thought it should, or if I didn't look how I thought I should look, or how my life didn't look how I thought it should look. And I think as time has gone on, it's been more of an acceptance of reality, and then also a acceptance of myself, and also a belief in myself. um there's a quote, and I'm looking behind it because it's behind my desk. It's the one. It's what lies behind us and what lies before us are nothing compared to what lies within us. And I think that is so true, of trusting yourself that you know what to do, and your experiences have led to you and given you the opportunities. And so not having that imposter syndrome to really say, I'm good enough, I've done all of these things, I deserve to be here, and I'm doing a great job.
That is a great mantra as well, kind of a
Mhm,
manifestation. I'm
mhm.
good enough. And so you have described quite a busy life.
Yeah.
How did you balance maybe self-care, wellness? I mean, are there specific moments or routines that help you to stay kind of grounded in this world?
I think two things are really, one thing that's most important to me is community. Having strong relationships, both within my family, within my friendships. I'm really so fortunate to live in a wonderful area where there's lots of people who are there for each other, and we have things going on all the time. And I think that's so important. I mean, everybody there's been so much isolation, especially within, what we saw with the pandemic and after it. So having those relationships are so important, and having people around you that support you. I'm very fortunate. I have a wonderful husband, wonderful partner. So that's really key. The second thing, though, that's more practical and has become more relevant, especially as I've gotten older, is good sleep.
Yes,
I'm,
yes, yes,
I'm
yes.
sure you know this. Yeah, but when I was younger, I could get away with like not getting the best sleep, or, maybe I didn't eat right the next day and it kept me up later. I had a nightmare or whatever. And now I can't just bounce back. Like I have to prioritize it, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that because um, there are many people that say, well, I'll sleep when I'm dead. Well, you don't want to kind of like increase the chances of that. But it's very important. The CDC's, the World Health Organization. I was just reading something about these billionaires that are ruling our world. For them,
Mm,
it's very important to also sleep at least 6 hours. I can't do much with 6 hours, but there are
mhm,
others, like for instance, even Tom Brady, he sleeps about 9 hours because all of them say that they need their brain to operate and
mhm.
to make decisions and to be as successful as they are. And I am almost like an evangelist of sleeping because people
Yeah.
don't realize how important it is. It
Mhm,
I was also reading that again because we just had the Super Bowl. That
mhm,
Tom Brady says that something that is very real too. It regenerates your body and
mhm,
it keeps you to helps you to keep a clear mind. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that. It's so important.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, everything you said for sure, and especially I think for women. I'm in my early 40s now, and talking to my doctor about perimenopause and menopause and all those things that are coming for me. And there's things that affect your body, and good sleep is like the basis of having everything else work well.
No, you mentioned also all these different roles that you are
Mm-hmm.
amazingly juggling. Do you find that one role is helping you kind of manage the other or support the other in some way?
Well, I will tell you, with starting the podcast and talking about mental health and talking about listening to yourself, I had felt for a long time that there was something kind of stirring inside me, that I wanted to do. And I think I listened to it and I went with it, and I found the path to do something creative. And um, I have found so many amazing things through my conversations with other people, grown relationships. I've learned about myself. I've learned about, we always assume that other people are the same as we are. That is not true. Like, is learning to see other people as they are. And so I would say that my role in the podcast over the last year that I've been doing it, has really helped me grow for sure. And also, I think I was going to be a little bit heartbroken if I lived my life without listening to this desire that I had. So that's one answer. I'm sure I could think of others, but yeah, that has been really important to me personally.
I love that too, it's kind of follow your dreams and
Mm-hmm.
pursue your goals. And at the same time, you stay in connection with others, which is also
Mm-hmm.
very important to avoid this isolation or maybe
Yeah.
even the loneliness epidemic that we have in this world
Mm.
that is different than being, with someone in the house or working. There are people that feel lonely because they don't have meaningful connection. So it's
Yeah.
just so great what you are sharing with us today. And you are also as I mentioned, a young mother, busy
Mm-hmm.
professional. And so, how do you make sure that you make time for wellness or self-care or even for reading if that's, something
Mm-hmm.
that you feel like, helps you?
Yeah, I will say I've had ups and downs with it for sure. I fell playing tennis about 2 years ago and I tore my ACL. And so I had to have ACL surgery. And so that was definitely a period of time where, you're on these good habits and you're keeping up with everything, and then everything just goes out the door. So then building up after that has been an experience, but then like once again, just accepting where life is. But I think it's really important to listen to yourself. Sometimes at the end of the day, I'm an extrovert, but like I get talked out. And so not feeling like I have to go and refill my own cup at that point. Whether and a lot of times it is reading. I love to read, obviously. I have a whole podcast about it, but yeah, so there's reading. Um, I like taking walks, especially now the weather's getting nicer. And I think the thing with a walk is it doesn't have to be like, oh, I have to get my heart rate up to this amount. Like you're really just enjoying nature and being outside. And a lot of times I'll listen to an audiobook while I'm taking a walk, obviously with like the Libby app, and other resources we have through libraries. I have a lot of options. And yeah, so those are just some little things that I try to do is like listen to myself, get outside in nature, oh, get moving.
You feel yourself like your senses with nature, and then you help your body walking. So it's
Hmm.
really nice. I like that you mentioned something, what happens when we maybe encounter a bit of a roadblock or some limitation,
Hmm.
right? A few years ago, something like that happened to me too. There was a big snow storm here. I went out to my car, I misstepped, and then I could not go to the gym regularly, but
Yeah.
I took dancing instead. And
Oh,
it
fun.
did exercise, the areas that I need, because people may not think that, but we need to stretch. We need to
Hmm.
kind of move a little bit, shake it a little bit. And so, and the dancing classes I took were very helpful. And even my podiatrist was like, wow, yes, this definitely you can help yourself like that. But it's like, how can we think about those alternatives? And it's not always easy, but I'm glad that we're having this conversation. Hopefully, it sparks an idea on someone that will listen to us.
Yeah, yeah, and kudos to you for, this thing that I had planned out isn't working, but I'm going to find another way to do it. And I find so often, and I know this from personal experience, it's like, oh, well, things have changed, so I'm just not going to do anything. Like, no, like you got out and you found dancing and another way to do it. And I love that. It's wonderful, wonderful example.
So, talking about now a little bit of about your mom's side of things.
Mm,
How do you introduce maybe wellness habits to your kid?
mm.
And do maybe they have any book, or since we haven't talked about your podcast, but we're going to talk about that in a
Oh,
moment.
yeah.
Is it a book, or there's a hot chocolate drink that you pair with the book for your kid?
Uh-huh.
How that works out?
With my daughter with wellness, so she is she has so much energy and always has had energy. Like there is no she's going to be an athlete for her life. I mean that's not something that I was born with too. It's been kind of like a lesson to see her. But just trying to like, especially now that she's getting older, to try to encourage specific skills. We have her doing piano lessons. Right now she's doing a play, so she's not doing any extracurricular sports right now, but making sure that she's like, I think team sports for kids are so important. I don't know if you play team sports. I was always on the tennis team. And those were my best friends growing up. And that was so important. So I think, health wise for her, she also has very high metabolism. So we haven't forced So she's lucky right now. But yeah, just trying to instill like good, healthy habits. We don't eat a lot of like boxed food. Like everything we do a lot of home cooked food. And
Yes,
I
yes.
yeah, and just like daily habits like getting up, making your bed, brushing your teeth, washing your face, like self-care, those kinds of things. You once you become a parent, you can't get away with a lot of this stuff because you are now an example for this other person. And so, if you want your child to be doing all these things, you have to be doing all of those things. And I say making the bed specifically because I don't think I was great at it in my 20s. And then I realized when I had her, I was like, if I want her to do it, I have to do it. So, yeah, and modeling healthy behavior with her. My husband's always, we always prioritize like date nights with each other because we want her to see the example of like a stable, loving relationship. We have, friends over and she knows all of our friends and all those kinds of things is like trying to be an example to this person who is going to be an adult, unfortunately, before I know it. But yeah, it's a
Oh,
challenge. It is a challenge.
that sounds really, really nice and very educational in the sense of, civics and human
Hmm.
being kind of side of things.
Yeah.
Um, I just breaking news. Yes, I was in a sports when I was younger in a
Hmm.
kid, and so I will play baseball in Puerto
Oh,
Rico,
fun.
and I was
Yeah.
a pitcher. So
Really?
yes, I have a good arm.
Oh my gosh. So I did softball for a little bit, but I was always afraid
Uh,
I was going to get hit by a
well, yes, that happened too.
ball.
It's part of the game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Um, well, I'm talking about a little bit, about being kind of like working out. Are there
Hmm.
any specific workouts or classes that maybe you gravitate to unwind after a stressful day, but that
Hmm.
maybe our listeners can also think about because you are very busy. So where we find the time and what are the
Hmm.
things that we do?
Yeah. So, like I said, a lot of times if I get up in the morning, I'm just doing whatever I'm doing in the morning. I'm either doing like elliptical to get my cardio or, 15 minutes of cardio and then maybe a lower body day or upper body weight training. I will not say I'm an expert on that. I have like an app on my phone that shows me the
Yes.
steps I have to do. So I have to be paying attention. I do like, after work, there are classes at our gym. I've always liked spin class. That's really good for cardio. Yoga, I love yoga. I mean, and also people say you cannot get a work, like they'll be like, oh, this isn't hard. Yoga is hard.
It's very hard. It's very hard. The flexibility you need is something else. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are probably like my go-to as far as classes. I've never been good at like the body pump kind of classes because they're going so fast. And I'm always worried, and especially since I had my knee injury, I'm always worried about getting re-injured. So, but yeah, spin and yoga, I can follow along and kind of do my thing too. So
And
those
you
those are
feed,
what I gravitate towards.
and you
Yeah.
feed that either before work or right after work before you get home, just to, for people to picture maybe the options they may have.
Yeah, I think before work is probably the easiest one for me. After work, I will admit like I'm tired. And so, but I do try to go if I'm going after work, going directly from work to the gym, and then getting home and having dinner afterwards, just because I don't like to eat and then work out. But once again, balancing in my family with that because there's childcare issues. When is my husband going to go to the gym if he's home with her? And so we kind of always have to have that planned out a little bit. That's why it's usually easier in the morning for me. And I'm also like a morning person. So,
That's very important, listening to your body. If you're a morning person,
mhm,
I definitely know that after 5 or 6, I'm not going
mhm,
to the gym. I might
yeah.
do a walk, but gym and weights or things, that's not not in my.
Yeah, yeah. And I also like, especially because I have to read so much for the podcast and for work. And I also write book reviews professionally as well. And so I'm always reading. Like I read 13 books in January. I cannot listen to an audiobook and work out at the same time. Like I can do it while I'm walking, but I'm so like I said, I'm so like paying attention on like what step do I have next? That I can't do both at the same time. But some people can, and that's good for them.
Well, this is really good to talk about because I am sure that librarians will kind of relate to this type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
the book and the trying to move your body. That's so
Mm-hmm.
important. And now that you mentioned parts of your podcast, right? You read 13 books in January. That's amazing. So
It's
on your
crazy.
on your podcast, you
Yeah.
pair books with drinks.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are reading or listening to a book, do you prefer to pair it with a calming or an energizing workout? I think you mentioned some of that, but
Mm-hmm.
also maybe you can tell us a little bit about the podcast itself and if there are
Yeah.
books that maybe inspire you to engage in maybe specific activity or
Yeah.
cardio workout, maybe and I don't know. Let us know about that.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I read quite a bit. I would say when I am reading, like I think a luxury for me is the end of the day to be able to lay in my bed and read a book. Like that's sort of like, oh. So I do a lot of reading then. I also keep my Kindle next to my bed. We were talking about sleep early, or, sometimes I still wake up in the middle of the night. And that's the easiest way for me to fall back to sleep is just to read a few pages and then fall back to sleep. But yeah, so with the podcast, what I do, every week I interview a guest about their favorite book. And you probably have had this experience too as a librarian. For so many years, I've spent time talking to patrons or talking to my staff about, I loved this book. This one was so good. I have a personal issue when someone comes and they say, Fourth Wing right now, for example, is a good one because it's so popular. And they're like, oh, I couldn't stand it. I don't like it. I have zero interest in hearing you tell me that why you did not like something, because and also someone like for every person that hates it, there's 30,000 people that loved it. So I really wanted to get into talking to people about stories they love. And also we are at a point where individuals right to see themselves in stories. We're talking about the LGBTQ population or people of color. A lot of the censoring that we're seeing is happening. And so we know the value of seeing yourself represented in a story. And so giving individuals the opportunity to talk about those moments and to capture it on audio has been really my goal. And at the same time, I pair it with a drink. Sometimes it's not alcoholic, sometimes it's alcoholic. It's really whatever the guest is interested in or pairs well with the books. But yeah, that's kind of like the gist around the podcast and my experience of it. And then I don't know, if you want, I have a few books here that I love, and I pulled them off specifically to talk about mental health.
Yes, yes,
Um,
because that's my next question. If you find any
okay.
books, helpful in your wellness journey, or maybe you want to
Mm-hmm.
recommend them to others.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have so many. Like this is literally what I had in my office here. But so this one is so good for mindfulness. It is Wherever You Go, There You Are by John Kabat-Zinn. This
Ooh.
is kind of like the go-to for mindfulness. So, especially if that's something someone's looking at right now or thinking about this year, um, practicing yoga with it, practicing meditation with it. This is excellent book. The next one that I have is, have you read The Four Agreements?
I was just talking about that last night, and I kid you not, someone was recommending it to me, but I have read it. So yes, it's a sign.
The sign, yes. If no one, it's a short book. It's not long.
Oh,
This is one, it's a practical guide to personal freedom, but basically the four agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And I think if people are just wanting to live life, like have some kinds of rules around living life, those are really easy ones to kind of just have. I've done it with my staff here to real like we'll go through and like each week we'll focus on, be impeccable with your word or don't make assumptions. And so that's something I've read it like three or four times, and it's short too. It's so
yes,
short.
yes, I do.
And then I am a big Anne Lamott fan. I don't know if you are. Bird by Bird is like the classic, and it was very impactful on me. But my actual favorite by her is this one. It's called Small Victories: Spotting Improbable Moments of Grace. You and I were talking earlier about perfectionism, and that is definitely, I'm going to be fighting it for my entire life. And she talks a lot about giving yourself grace, finding grace. Don't sweat the small stuff kind of things. So yeah, those are just, like I said, I have so many, but I love all of those, and especially for wellness and mental health, those are great.
And I really like what you mentioned about taking some time with your staff to talk about these books and
Mm-hmm.
wellness. So important. And, this podcast is not only for librarians, it goes across industries. Anybody who
Mm-hmm.
finds it can listen to it. So that's an activity that actually they can do with their teams, you know,
Absolutely.
and it could be online or in person. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and it's simple. They're just simple, but they make such an impact for sure.
All right, a question that is kind of very practical related to what you do. So,
Mhm.
what drink or fitness routine might pair with that book, one of the books that you created, that you share to
Mhm.
create kind of a sort of like a perfect self-care moment?
I think it depends on the individual. I mean, I'm definitely gonna go, you know what, like my fun like weakness is like I might is like a chai latte or a chai tea. And that has like just a little bit of caffeine, but that's sort of a light indulgence I'll do like in the early afternoon sometimes, is I'll make myself like a chai latte or just any kind of tea that somebody is into. I think right now I have some jasmine tea that I brew. Oh my gosh, look at this. I have like an actual
Oh,
teapot. My
love it.
dad got that from me. That's actually from China. So in the after, so I'll make some tea for myself with the jasmine tea, and it's just the ritual of it is. I think you can't take that for granted. Of the taking the time, we're always so rushed in everything we do. Everything's go go go, and actually putting the leaves in and boiling the water. I mean, that's mindfulness for you.
Well, you see, you can still pause. You kind of like decelerate a little bit and then
Mm-hmm.
allow yourself to enjoy that. And maybe if the tea has any, aroma, you experience
Mm-hmm.
that too. I think everything works together.
Yes.
So how would you suggest people get started if they are feeling overwhelmed and want to make a wellness a priority, right? You mentioned so many
Mm-hmm.
things that you do, but if people were going to start, what would be your recommendation?
Start small. I don't know if you've read the book Atomic Habits. That's another one that I would recommend any day of the week. But it's basically about setting habits. So if you are just starting and you haven't been doing this ongoing for a long time, that you could jump into something that you've done before, but you're starting brand new. An example is always, oh, I want to walk, get 10,000 steps in every single day. Well, that is a great goal. It is not going to be possible, and you are going to get overwhelmed. So, what about taking like a 15-minute walk on your lunch break? Or just starting small. If you want to do 50 push ups a day, start with 2 push ups a day.
Yeah.
um, and make sure you like it. I think there's a quote from Arnold Schwarzenegger that is like the best workout is the one that you'll do. And if you
Yes.
hate if you hate doing something, you're not going to keep up with it. So, but if you can be like Lordy, your example of like starting dancing, that is a great, healthy, fun activity. And it's also so good for your soul too.
Yes,
All of
yes,
that.
so it's the best, then the best workout is the one that you're going to do. It's like
Yes.
I've heard
Yes.
this related to the best book written is the one that you are going to write, right?
Yeah.
Um, so okay, so we're at the end of this conversation. I really have enjoyed it a lot, and I think
Yeah.
that listeners will also have so many ideas to think about and
Yeah.
share with their colleagues, their family, maybe their friends. And so, but now before we go,
Mm-hmm.
where can listeners follow you and your podcast to learn more
Yeah.
about maybe wellness to books and drinks and self-care?
Yeah. So my podcast is called Drinks in the Library. And I did come up with that while I was working here because somebody came in and said, "Do you allow drinks in the library?" So mine is the only library where drinks aren't just allowed, they're required. And so, yeah, drinksinthelibrary.com. Drinks in the Library is my handle on Instagram. I'm also on Threads. All of that is there. You can find me on all podcasts, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, pretty much anywhere you can get your podcasts. And I'm looking to grow this year by adding in personal recommendations from myself. So far, each episode has been me interviewing a guest about their favorite book, which has been amazing. And I mean, I've loved all of those episodes, but I think I would like to start adding in my own personal recommendations. So that's something I've got coming up that I hope people will connect with.
That's pretty cool, pretty cool. And you said the podcasts are out every week?
Yes, every Tuesday. Mm-hmm.
Okay, fabulous. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much,
Oh
and I
my
wish you all
gosh,
the
Lorena.
best.
It's so good to see you. Thank you for having me. This has been a blast.
All right.
All
See you next
right.
time.
See
Bye-bye.
you. Bye bye.